blustery morning in Crawfordsville, and we need the projectors to be going. That would maybe help. Um, so, how was everyone's weekend online? Let's see, twitch.tv moderator view so I can see what's going on in the chat. All right, well, so let's get to it then. So, last time what we were looking at was the new interface that Microsoft has added to the Minecraft thing. And I was looking to see if there was a reference manual. Well, as far as I can tell, there isn't one, which is really annoying. Okay, now I know as men, like we are genetically predisposed to not read instruction manuals, right? Like we're also genetically predisposed to not ask for directions. Of course, nowadays you have smartphones. That's kind of interesting, right? You'll ask your smartphones for directions, but you won't ask a person for directions. Facts? Yeah. I mean, you guys are probably like a little too young for this, remembering having to stop and ask directions when you were going somewhere. Maybe when you were little kids. Anybody remember that? No? Yeah, sort of. Okay. Well, I definitely do. I definitely remember navigating with maps, like on roadways, not out like camping. Like you'd have a road atlas and yeah. Well, I mean, it was pre-Google. Pre-Google, we all used a thing called MapQuest, and you'd print them out before you left. That was like the first big new thing. Um, but then, yeah, before that, it was, you know, you get your atlas out and of, you know, either the state or the part of the state you were going to, and you just had to figure it out. So, uh, actually, the last time I used a map to navigate around was um, a little over 2 years ago. My dad and I went over the summer to England and Scotland, and particularly are in the middle of nowhere in the Highlands of Scotland. You know what you don't have very good of? Cell coverage. Like you have like basically non-existent cell coverage in the valleys and stuff. So we had a England and Scotland road atlas just in case, and it was a good thing we grabbed it because there were definitely a few places where we had zero coverage whatsoever. So anyway, so yeah, so as far as I can tell, there is no sort of master reference of all of the available stuff within the Python interface to Minecraft, with one perhaps exception. And let me fire it up and show you what I mean. All right, so we want Minecraft education. Would help if I could read this morning. And let me switch the stream over to full screen. Oh, hold on. I don't think I need to do that. I just need to do this. Oh, they have another new version already? Wait a minute now. Didn't I just update this on Friday? Okay, maybe that's what it's about. So 1.14, no, this is the beta. So, yeah, sorry, you guys can't use this excuse, right? Creeper ate my homework. All right, well, so let's dive into it. And um, uh, let's see, survival, or no, we want creative, peaceful, show coordinates, immediate respawn, and I'll just do always day. Let's see what the classroom settings are. Okay, don't want any of that. All right, so let's play that. Okay, so let's see what we got. Let me hide the controls and let's go into the code builder. Now, we said that there were three modes that you could use the code in. MakeCode, and that's I think where we want to go actually, um, and not use this new one just because, like I said, I can't find a reference manual of like all the different commands and stuff that are available. But we can keep tinkering with that. Um, and then of course there's Tinker, which is pretty similar. But let's go to MakeCode, and the reason I'm gonna uh, use that is if I go and I make a project. Okay, so one thing I like about the MakeCode interface is by default, what kind of view do we have? We've got the graphical, like block-based coding system, okay? But I can easily switch over and see it in Python view. Now, what's nice here is that the code that I make in Python and the code I make in um, the block-based thing, they are literally the same code. Okay, so for example, uh, let's say that I change this to rain, and then I went to let's see, where was it? Basic player. Where was the gameplay? That's where it was. Uh, make it rain, and then I'll duplicate one of these, and I'll say clear, and then I'll make the weather clear. Okay. So if I make those in the block-based thing, then and then I go over to the Python view, then it literally is that same functionality, right? So the nice thing here is that you can kind of use block-based coding and then look at what the equivalent Python is, and we can go back and forth, right? So if I make an edit to it in Python, then those changes will be reflected in the block-based coding. So for specifically for you guys who never have done um, text-based coding, this is kind of useful because you can kind of do both, right? Okay, so let's kind of look at what's going on. Well, first off, let's look at what's going on with the block-based coding. That should be relatively clear what's happening, right? That if one of these two chat messages gets, the player types it, then something will happen, right? Okay. And I just picked, the weather, whatever. Doesn't really matter here for the sake of demonstration. Um, but if we go to the Python, let's look at what really is going on there. So let me, oops, let me make a little bit of space here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this and I'm going to paste it down there. Oops, and then I'm going to make some space here. Okay, so let's, and then go back to the graphical view. Same thing. Okay, so, oh, I see. It wants to do that. So basically, this def thing, right, is what we're doing is we're defining a function. Well, what does the function do? It all it does when the function is triggered is set the weather to either clear or rain. Okay, fine. But then what triggers the function? Okay, so you see the line numbers 3 and 6 that say player.onChat clear or rain, right? So what are those two things going to do? Let's take, say, the clear one. Doesn't matter, right? So what does this function player on chat do? When the player types something, it does whatever the thing after the comma is. Okay, so in this case, what is the thing after the comma called? On chat, okay. And what is that function? It's that thing right there. Okay. Now, it defaulted to calling it on chat. Does it have to be that? No, of course, I can change the name of these functions. So, for example, let me get rid of that extraneous space, and let me change this to, say, make weather clear. And then here I could say, make weather clear. So same functionality, I've just given the function a more descriptive name as to what it's doing. And if we go back to the block-based code, it's the same thing, right? In terms of its block, but well, and then it nukes it, which is kind of annoying. I don't know why it does that. Like why it renames it for us. But you guys get the idea that the function could be named anything. Yeah, okay. And then if I run this, so that's running, and then, right, so I typed a message that triggered the command or the function that told the game to make it start raining. And then if I, do the other one, then I've got clear. Okay, great. All right, so let's go back into the code builder and see what else we can do. All right, so let me go back to the graphical view for now. All right, now, so there's one major difference here between the interface but on this code builder and the Scratch interface that we were playing with last week. And that is there are no sprites, okay? What that means, though, is that there literally is just one section of code, right? There's not the code for the cat and the code over here for the this and the code for the that. There is just one palette worth of stuff. So the upside to that is everything's in one place. The downside to that is everything's in one place, right? So your code can get kind of complicated, especially in graphical view. If you've got lots and lots of stuff, this is why they have a zoom in and out feature. And then also, if you right click, it will format things and sort of snap things into like a logical arrangement so that it doesn't look like garbage. Okay, does that sound good? Yeah. Um, those of you guys who are online, can you hear the music from Minecraft? Is that coming through on the stream or just my voice? I don't remember if I enabled desktop audio. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so so what do we got here? Well, we've got all the different things that the player can do. Um, so the player can walk or do any of these other actions, right? So if the player is climbing, falling, flying, riding, whatever, you could trigger something. What else do we got? Um, Now, this is actually one thing that's kind of cool. You can actually make the player say something, but saying something could then therefore trigger an action. So, for example, let's just say when the player starts walking, say rain, and then let's do, let's see, where is it? Let's do a pause for, let's say, a second, and then okay, so what should happen? Yeah, if I start walking, it should. Oh, actually, it won't quite keep switching because what else do I need to put in here? I need to put another pause right there. Because otherwise, what was happening is it would say clear and then immediately say rain again. What's wrong? Uh, Good point. And that should matter because Python is case sensitive. it's possible that under the hood, Microsoft has made the cases not sensitive, but yes, technically we should worry about that. Okay, so let's run it and start walking. Now we may actually not notice anything because it does take, here, let me crank up let me crank this up to 10 seconds. Um, just because it takes, like the rain doesn't start instantly in the game. Huh? Oh, that's going to be lame if I have to do it. Oh, blast. That's annoying. Oh, man. Okay, so me telling myself to say it and actually saying it are not the same thing. Womp womp. You know, I just can't catch a break with this Minecraft thing. Yeah. Um, okay, well, c'est la vie. What else do we got though? You know, I wonder what does that. Oh, well, that's fine, right? Because that's Minecraft stuff, right? No. Okay. The other thing I was just noticed was so see, there's this execute say hi versus say. Let's see what the difference is between those. There may not be any. No. Oh, that's lame. All right. Oh, here we go. Run chat command. That's what we want. They got to make us work for it. There we go. Okay, now it's going to stay raining because what do we need to use here? Instead of say, we need to use on run chat command. The other benefit, I guess, to that is that it doesn't like we don't see it saying that, even though it did. Because so it should get clear here after 10 seconds of the rain. Hey, for my next trick, no. Um, okay, so all right, so that's interesting, right? So we got the different, and it's going to loop here because I never told it to stop looping, right? So I never said like when the player stops walking, stop doing this. Um, okay, but hopefully you guys get the idea. So let's see what else we got here. We've got run chat commands, um, and then this one, this chat command with blank, is probably how we would do. I'll have to play with it. Functions with input, right? So like, well, like on the core skills exam, right? There were some of them where it was like I defined a function called func, and it's maybe func of two. Well, then you have to plug two into whatever the input variable is and do whatever, right? So I could make functions that do that sort of thing, that require input variables or numbers or something. Um, okay. Um, let's see what else we got. Let me stop the rain here because this is getting annoying. Uh, there's no stop, which is kind of weird. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll just put all of this. No, sorry. Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, so it should clear up. And then it would re-trigger if I started walking again. So it should get clear. Come on. There we go. All right. Um, all right, so let's see what else we got. Um, so the agent is the thing that you can program. So it's like a second character that does exactly what you tell it to do. So what can the agent do? Well, um, you can make it move. Okay, you can also access where its coordinates are. You can have it place things, destroy things, till, attack, collect, or inspect. Um, some stuff that has to do with inventory. Um, and yeah, okay. So what could you maybe do with an agent, right? I think one thing I mentioned was you have to farm, like in survival mode, you've got to farm food, right? So you don't starve to death. Well, what do you have to do to farm food? Huh? How do you get food? Kill enemies? Oh, animals. Okay, well that gets you meat, but what about the veggies? Yeah, well, so how do you farm, right? Okay, then plant something somehow. Okay, and then what? Does it have to rain or water? Okay, where do you get the water? A bucket? Well, what about if you have like a pool? Can you like walk up to your own pool and fill up the bucket, then go water, and then you wait, and then what happens? You've got veggies, then you got to collect them. You see where I'm going with this? Right. So could you automate this process? Yeah. Would that be kind of cool to automate this process? Yeah. Humor me, guys. I haven't really played much Minecraft, right? I'm learning it precisely so that we can use it in class. Okay. Um, but all right, so let me go back to the home thing here because there are some nice tutorials that show you a couple of that show you kind of how to do different things or how to use different functions. So, there's agent to kind of show you how some of the agent stuff works. Um, Stuff with mobs, which you don't really control once you get them. Superpowers. There was one, ooh, Hilbert fractals. That's cool. There was one. Owen, do you remember where? Oh, here it is. Mini games. This is the fun one. Um, there was one called. What was it? Okay. What? And can you guys tell me what the hell does spleef mean? Like they keep having, we keep seeing this word called spleef, and I'm like, I've never heard of it. Right? TNT spleef. All right. Well, let's see what this is all about. Okay, this is. Oh yeah. Okay, it's like Bomberman. This is what it was. Oh, I see. Okay. So there was another version of this where these blocks wouldn't get destroyed, but the idea was that you were. It was kind of like Bomberman, where the ground never gets destroyed, but the you want to blow up the other player. Okay. So all right. Uh, so you could make a little mini game. Oops. I guess I blew up. There's my agent, by the way. Hello, agent. All right. Um, okay. So, right. So let's go back here and see what else we got to work with. So there's lots of different tutorials. This one's kind of cool. Agent checkers. I wonder what that's all about. I'll build a checkerboard with the agent. Okay, so the agent can do basically build stuff for you and um, go back to here. Right, so the agent you've got basically can go around and do things for you, and you can make it do the farming or whatever. What else do we have? So mobs, this would be like spawning animals or whatever. Um, let's see. Logic. Okay, so you get your if then and if then else there in the logic thing. Um, and what's the, oh, you can do multiple else ifs. It's kind of cool. That'll let you do like cases. Um, that's handy. All right, we've got our logic, we've got our true and our false. Um, variables. Okay, so if you make a variable here, um, so this is one thing that's going to be different than Scratch. Um, is so when we made variables in Scratch, what kind of variables were there? What was the two categories? Well, don't jump up all at once, huh? You're supposed to remember. Yeah, you are kind of on fire. All right. No, we don't remember. Well, there was for all sprites and for this sprite only. Okay, which another way to say that is global versus local, right? So, what's a local variable? It only is accessible and usable by a particular sprite, not by all sprites. Okay, and if there were clones of sprites, which you also can't do here, then uh, then yeah, you can't. Um, then each clone gets its own copy. But if we make a variable here, then there is no such distinction between global and local in this particular implementation. Now that kind of makes sense because there's like what objects are there that could have local variables? Well, we don't have sprites, okay, so that doesn't make sense. Um, and the only time that in this case you'd probably want to have local variables is with functions, but it just makes them all global, which is bad and good. It makes it easier for you to code, but it's bad programming. Anyway, you got all the math that you could want, including, let's make sure all the trig is there. Yay, there's trigonometry. Oh, they even have integer division and multiplication. That's nice. Um, oh, this is good. What's a tan2? Has anybody ever heard of this function? You certainly heard of inverse tangent or arctan. Yeah, inverse tangent or arctan. Atan2. This is something what's on the screen there. Has anybody ever seen that before? Okay. So Atan2 is actually, um, let's click on that one. Um, it's actually a multivariable function. So the problem with arctangent, if you want to compute angles, is um, which quadrant you're in, right? So arctangent returns angles that are either in quadrants 1 or 4, and that's it. But what about if the geometry was such that the angle should be in quadrant 2 or 3? There's no way for arctangent to know it. So what you give a tan2 is both the x and the y coordinate, and then it, being a multivariable function, can spit out, oh, if the x and the y are both negative, that means I'm in quadrant 3, so I'll return the quadrant 3 answer, which is kind of nice. Okay, so you can do some cool trig with that, and it's built in, which is kind of nice. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Functions, you can make your own functions. Let's make one. Okay, so if I start to make a function, well, there's a couple things I've got to define. One is, what is the function going to be called? Right, that's up to you. Obviously, you want it to be somewhat descriptive. But then the function could depend on parameters. So, for example, it could depend on true-false objects, which are the Boolean ones. It could depend on a text object, okay, fine. Or it could depend on a number or a position. Now, what is a position? It's really just a group of 3 numbers, right? X, Y, and Z. Yes? Okay, but what about, say, a number, right? So we could do something like, well, let's just say it depends on a number, and let's call that number num. Okay, num here, let's go back to the variables. You see num doesn't appear in our variable list. Where does it appear? Right here. Okay, so num is actually local only to that function, which is a good thing. This is good programming. Okay, well, so let's make something here. So let me get rid of all that. And let me say on-chat command do something. I'm going to run the function do something with the input value of 1. Okay, so what I can then do is let's go to player and let's just say, how about this? All right. Okay, so if I run this and I hit, I do something, then what happened? It triggered the function with the input value of 1 in this case. And what did the function do? It just said that number back to me. Okay. But I could do, of course, all sorts of fun stuff. So, like, let's do some math with it. Let's do, let me do the square root of the number. Oop, damn it. And there we go. Okay, so I could build like a little calculator or something. I don't know. Right? Okay, cool. So, what can you pass multiple numbers to a function? Could I pass multiple arguments? Totally, right? So here on my functions, and let's see if we can actually edit. Edit function, right? So let's say you decide later, oh, I really wanted to have a second number. Well, you don't have to start all over. You can just edit it and add that in. So I could say, for example, I want a second number, and how about call it num2, whatever, right? And then I could do something like, oh, I don't know. Damn it. Okay, I don't like this interface. Right, like that, where it takes the square root of the sum of the two numbers. Okay, so then here, let me just do, say, for example, 2 and 2, right? Because what's the square root of 4, last time I checked? It's 2, okay? All right, so just kind of poking around here. What kind of interesting things do you guys think you might want to maybe play with trying to implement? Huh? What? Okay, agent, how to do something. All right, so if we're going to do something with the agent, then all of those blocks are going to be here, right? So let's just do something where, like, let's say I type something and then the agent, I don't know, maybe like walks in a square or something. Okay, just yeah. In fact, let's put this together. So let me get rid of all of that stuff, and let me say, okay, agent square. Okay, so I'll type agent square, and then I'm going to make a function because I want to. Um, and I'm going to edit this function. Okay. All right. So what do I want to do to the agent to make it move? Okay. Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to, where's the movement? Move forward by, say, 1. Okay. Um, and then what do I need to do? I need to make it turn. Well, which way do you guys want to walk in the square? Around left or right? Doesn't really matter. So let's just say left. And I'll just change this to 5 so we can actually see something. Um, so if I did this right now, what would happen? Move forward 5 steps, turn left. If I wanted to move in a square, what do I need to do? I need to repeat that 3 more times. Okay. Uh, so why did I put the num times variable here? Can you guys see where I'm going with this? How many times do I want to repeat this procedure if I want him to walk in a square num times? 3 times after that one. Okay, now, do I want to copy and paste that little chunk of code 3 times? I could, right? Do I need to? No. So what I can do instead is I'm going to repeat, and then I have to drag this stuff inside. Okay, how many times should I make it repeat? Well, it'd actually be 4 because, right, the first one now is part of the thing. Okay, but if I ran it like so, how many times would he walk in the square? Just once. How many times do I want him to walk in the square? Once per num times. So what could I replace the 4 with in order to make it go? Bingo, 4 times num times. Okay, so let me do math here. I want to repeat this 4 times num times. Okay, and it's sometimes a little finicky about getting it to slot in. Okay, this is, yeah. All right, so do you guys see why it should be 4 times the num times? Because how many times does it take to repeat, that I have to repeat to get a single square? 4, because I only put in 1 move forward and 1 turn left. That was it. Okay, and so if I want to go around the square, say twice, I would pass 2 to this function, and it would do that walk forward, turn left procedure 8 times. Once for the first loop, and once for the second loop. All right, does that make sense? Okay, now, then the other thing I need to do is I need to trigger this. Okay, and how do I trigger it? Well, I need to say on chat command agent square, call the function agent walk square with the input of, say, 2 for twice round. Okay, does that make sense? To ask how many? Let's play with that next, yeah. Okay, so let's run that, and then what did I call it? Agent square. Okay, cool. Here, let's do it again. Um, so what I'm not sure what would happen is if there was a block in the way, would it just like go through the block or just get stuck or what? But we could play with that. So then the other thing, so what Ethan just asked is could we make it ask how many times you want to do this? Okay, so that we're not hard coding it to 2 in this case. So let's see what options we have to maybe make something like that happen. Okay, run chat command. Um, this would allow us to have an argument. The question is, how do we get the argument to plop in that little position? Okay. All right, let's see. It's going to be under, if you can do something like that, time, position. I don't think there's a way to ask. Yeah. Um, well, okay, maybe we could do something like this. Um, um, this is kind of janky, but it'll work. Oh, no, it's right there. All right, so let's try this. That was 3 times, right? Okay, cool. Well, and actually, here's one thing we can do. Let's under agent, the agent can also say things, I think. So, well, maybe it can't, but we can make the player um, say, um, let's make a variable here. Oops. Oh, I don't need that anymore. Okay, so what I just did, let's run that. 1. It should have said 2. Oh, thank you. That would do it. Okay. This is why then, therefore, um, should I have done the 4 times thing now? Because now it's going to say 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, etc. Yeah. Okay. I I just realized I didn't want to actually do it the way I did. Okay, so let me go back here and let me do this, and then I'm going to put a second loop. Yeah, but then I'd have to like check, is it divisible by whatever, and then, right? Okay, now it's what I want. Right. Okay, so yeah, we can do some control there. Yeah, kind of makes sense. All right, so what I'd like you guys to do for Wednesday is just get in here and poke around, right? Play with some of the tutorials, just kind of experiment, okay? Now, is there anybody that would rather not do things involving Minecraft for this next project? You would rather not do anything involving Minecraft? Well, okay, so let me rephrase. Is it the same? No. Is it similar? Yes, right? So it's similar in the sense that the code is all set up in this block based system. Is it the same? No, right? Because some of it is specific to Minecraft, right? But there's also some things that you've lost functionality. So for example, in Scratch, you can check, hey, is the keyboard like key up arrow being pressed, right? So you could make a game, a fully functioning game, like let's say Flappy Bird or something, I don't know, right? Where you just have to hit up and down or whatever, right? Like you can totally do that. Can you do something like that in here? No, right? So in a sense, the Minecraft stuff is a little bit more limited in terms of what you can program because there's not stuff to get keyboard input and a few other kind of core functionality. Okay, so I guess that's the other thing you should do is if you don't want to do Minecraft, that's fine. So I guess we're going to have a fork here, right, of two different options for projects. Okay, I'll post a little bit of details about that on Canvas, and because I don't want to force you to use Minecraft if you don't want to, but those of you who have done Minecraft, maybe you'd like that. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway. All right. Let's quit. It's 8:50. So see you guys on Wednesday, and I'll post some stuff to Canvas. So please pay attention to that. Oh, by the way, the core skills exam, how'd that go? A little rough for a few of you. Okay, well, good. But what happened at midnight? The answer's unlocked. Okay, so you can go back and check and see what mistakes you made. Okay, if it's an obvious mistake, like some of you guys would just fail to read the directions, like that it problem asked for it in binary and you gave it in hex. Well, those are different, right? Or something like that. Okay, so if it was a silly error like that, okay, no big deal. But if it was something more fundamental, go over it, rework the problem. If you got questions, then come chat with me, and then we'll do the whole thing again starting Wednesday. Yeah? All right, see you guys later.